Hello, welcome Cappella World, Deke Sharon here, and this Too Many Notes I want to dedicate to a concept: save a life. Now, save a life may seem like a weird thing for me to even bring up in the context of contemporary a cappella, which seems just like this light, fun, frothy experience that students do, and maybe some adults, and it's kind of frivolous maybe, you think, and yet, let me ask you a question. When you see a sports team play another sports team, what happens when one wins and the other loses? Ultimately, nothing. The balance of power in the universe is the same. You know, maybe some people gambled on the game a little bit, and some fans are happier and other ones are less happy, but in the end, it didn't really make a huge difference to the world. It's just sports. And yet sports coaches get out there and they're like, the game's on the line, everything comes down to this matters more than anything. And the players get all fired up, and it's like there's nothing else in the world that matters more than whose ball goes across which line, and it's part of our culture. We love sports and we get really worked up about them. And then in choir, people get together and the coach says, the music director says, okay guys, let's run through this again and make it good. And they're not necessarily getting their group all fired up. And yet, I posit that what's happening in that concert actually is far more important to our culture and to the lives of the people in the audience than any sporting event ever. Now, what do I mean by this? Well, let me give you some examples. It's been shown that people who sing in a choir, in a vocal group, in an a cappella group, and this has been studied, so you can go online in Course America, et cetera, and see these studies, but they stay in school longer, they feel more connected to others, they do better in school, they get better grades, and all of those effects end up having huge impacts on the rest of their life. They'll make much more money, more connection to friends socially, like they're less depressed, and it can even get to the point where it affects an epidemic that we have now, which is teen suicide. I believe in the past few years, suicide rates have tripled. Social media, as beneficial as it is in some ways to our culture, has undermined the self-esteem of an entire generation of at least Americans, and I'm sure many other cultures around the world. This is horrifying. When I was in high school, I only compared myself to the other people in my high school, like, oh, I'm auditioning for the musical, I hope I do well, and there's some other people, but maybe I'll get like a supporting lead, that'd be nice. Kids now are comparing themselves to every single person on the planet. In fact, my son, when he was 14 years old, came up to me and he said, Dad, when Justin Bieber was 14, he was discovered and became a big star. Does it mean like I'm a failure? And I was like, oh, honey, like just even that we would have that thought brought tears to my eyes. But this is what's going on in the minds of young people. And when they join a singing group, they've got friends, they're bullied less, they have this connection to other people, and they're lifted up in this ensemble that ends up changing the way in which they relate to other people and the way in which they engage with their school community, and it has long-lasting effects. And on the other side of the life cycle, I remember a concert a decade ago or so that when I was performing with the House Jacks, and a woman came up to me afterwards and she said, I just need to tell you that my husband passed away 6 months ago, and I haven't left home since then. And I have felt no joy, and I've not known what to do with myself. And a friend dragged me along to this concert. She said, you'll have a good time. Let's get you out of the house. Let's just go do something, whatever. And she said, and tonight I felt joy for the first time in my life. And now I know what I want to do. I want to sing. I'm gonna go join this group, and you have this family on stage. I see you with these other guys, and my friend says this choir, like, they're her sisters, they're her family, and I want that in my life, and that's what I'm gonna go do. The reason I'm saying this to you is because there's gonna be a concert you're gonna do on a Tuesday afternoon at a state fair, and there are only gonna be 6 people sitting in the bleachers and some people walking by, and you're gonna think, this doesn't matter. Or maybe you're gonna perform for a boisterous student body, meeting where everybody comes together and people are rambunctious, and you think nobody is really paying attention and cares what I'm doing. Or you're gonna have some performance in the rain and not many people are gonna show up, and you're gonna kind of be downtrodden. You're gonna feel like what you're doing doesn't matter. And yet it matters more than you realize. Every single time you get on stage, you have the ability to literally save a life. You can change a person's perspective, not only for that day, but for the rest of their lives if they see what you're doing and it brings them true joy and they decide to do this thing as well. My life's work is to spread harmony through harmony, because the harmony that we're missing between people in our culture is perfectly reflected in vocal harmony groups. We have the secret sauce. And so please, directors, singers, anybody involved in vocal music, be it amateur or professional or whatever, every time you get on stage, remember, you have the ability to save a life. Someone in that audience needs you more than you will ever know, and you will probably never meet them or realize the impact you've had. Just as you have impacted the lives of people who've seen you on stage before, and you'll never know. Occasionally someone will come up to you and talk to you, but most of the time you'll never know, and you don't need to know. But you do need to know that when you step on that stage, what you do is literally life-changing. And so that's why you can save a life. Anyway, that's what this is all about. Please, if you have any thoughts about this, if you have any experiences in your own life where you know you've had a connection with others, or when you've seen a concert and it's changed your own life, post it down below. Let's tell these stories. Let's make sure that we show the world that what we do really matters, so that the other singers who are getting up on stage know that every single time they sing, it has this kind of a powerful impact. Thanks. See you next time.